outside, the lady again. You just want all your attention, don't you? But yeah, here I am out of here again with this. And bird. You see all the birds, lady? Look at the birds. You see the birds? You see the birds? Look at the birds. There's a big one down there. Very hard to tell, but it's there. And there's some birds in the water. Big birds. Protect the house. Protect the house. The birds are fine. I'm kidding. What you doing? I don't know what he's doing. He's walking around. But yeah. Well, she so far stole the show because of course she does. It's Lady. How can she not steal the show? Multiple times she's done it. How could she not do it? It's Lady. How could she not do it? You want to go inside already? You don't have to. Oh, fine. Hey! Don't, don't mess with the screen, okay? There you go, good girl. She always steals the spotlight, doesn't she? Of course she does. But yeah, I guess something I've been doing a lot, and I've been doing a lot for the last couple of years, is reflecting. Like a lot of reflecting, looking on, things that happened, how I got here, where I am currently, stuff like that. And there's a bird there doing whatever. A lot of birds outside right now. But yeah, that's what I've been doing a lot lately. And one area in particular recently was on my old channel, back when I made. What the fuck is that? I don't know. It's like a humming or something. I don't know what that is. It's like a humming noise over there or something. It's kind of weird. But there's a time period on my old channel from about May 2019 to February 2021 when I made Rise of Nations videos on Roblox. That was an entire era, so I called it my RoN era, so I called it. And I was looking back at it again, to look at it, how I shaped an influence me to get where I am now with this channel now. Because that time period of under 2 years taught me more. Like so, it was an entire YouTube creator like cycle in under 2 years. You had rising up, getting more attention, views, subscribers, all that stuff. You had that. You had being at the peak, whereas you're like at the top of the game. Then you had the begin the decline, hanging down the hill a little bit, and then there was the crash, as I called it, where you realize, and I've seen a lot of other creators who are around my age or older realize this, that a lot of the audience you build up isn't actually there for you, as in you, the person. They're there for the game and the online alias. So you got, for me at that time, it was Marzzik15. But, in April 2020, I wanted to do more than just RoN, so I started making non-RoN videos. And I learned pretty quickly that my channel was stuck in RoN. Any video that wasn't Rise of Nations would get, like, where the fuck less views. And I know it may seem obvious to some now, but I didn't know that would happen back then, because at that time my mentality was, that old channel was, I largely focused on like a series, and then that series would finish, then I'd move on to the next one, if it was one to move on to. And that happened for the first 2 years of my old channel. There was Inca 2017, Volumes Basics, the original game, Day Shifter Freddy's 2, Day Shifter Freddy's 3, all those, even like Papa Scooperia, they had, starts and endings. So for a while that worked, where I would largely focus on the series that's going on right now. I would finish it, and then I'd move on, and if there was no other series to start right then, well, I'd just sprinkle in whatever in between, and that worked, until Rise of Nations came along, hello bird, because then, with Rise of Nations, there was no end in sight. It just kept going and going and going and going. And that's when I learned in 2020 that that a lot of the audience I built up from, like, the past almost year was, most of them didn't care for me as a person, as in, like, they were there for Rise of Nations, not me. And then you could say, oh, but the algorithm didn't show them stuff. And true, the algorithm did not show or push out stuff that wasn't Rise of Nations. That is true, but some people still did watch that stuff. It was just way less. So that showed me that a lot of the people there didn't actually care about me, the person who was behind, Marzzik15 doing it. They cared about the game, and a lot of other YouTubers I've seen who are around my age or even older than me go through that same thing. The difference was I experienced that in less than 2 years. Like, the whole thing was under 2 years, so I got the compressed version of it. And that's why when I see others, I'm like, yeah, well, that's how it is, or at least it was. Like, I've seen Holy 4 YouTubers, like Bitter Steel, they try to, make videos on games that, isn't Holy 4, and they don't get as much attention because it's not Holy 4. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure there's other channels that have had similar things, and I've seen it. And honestly, for me, I'm kind of in that similar boat. It's like, because, a lot of people online still use online names. They still use, like, a username. So, for me, when they do something that isn't that, unless their personality is strong enough to, like, carry over to another game, I'm probably not going to watch the other game either, unless I'm into that game. So, I'm guilty of it, but I'm not shaming people for it. It's just how it is. But I didn't take it very well in 2020 when that happened to me. At first, I didn't care. So I'm just like, well, whatever, I'll just, do what I wanted. But I started to get tired of Rise of Nations because, it was the same format I always did, and plus the meta was changing. Like, for a while, my format, which was just form the nations in private servers, that worked fine. That worked fine for, a while. But then in 2020, the meta was shifting, to public server stuff, including forming nations. But I didn't want to do that because at the time, first of all, I knew how chaotic public servers were, and I barely did it at all. That was one thing. But also, I was just starting college, and that summer, COVID was happening. It was right smack in the middle of COVID. So my life was changing all around me, and now there's this going on. The most success I ever had on YouTube up until that time, And when October 2020 hit, it all just crashed. And I call it the crash, because it was. Because I had enough at that point. I just wanted to stop making raw videos. So I tried to force retire it. And, the intent wasn't bad, but the way I phrased it was just terrible. The way I phrased it was awful. Because I remember, I think I've posted this on my current channel. I think I posted the clip where I said it. But it was basically like, you're only a true fan of Marzzik15 if you watch everything I made. If you only watch Rise of Nations, then you're not a fan of me. You're just a fan of the game. And that was just a bad thing to say. Like, again, the intent wasn't bad, but the phrasing was just god awful. It was. And I still, to this day, regret that. Not the intent, not how I was feeling, but how I said it. Because that's a horrible way of saying it. Because, again, you know what that sounds like. Just hearing that, you can tell what that sounds like. Because, again, that's just an awful way of saying it. There's just a terrible way of saying it. And, yeah, that's how I felt at that time was, most people aren't there for me. They're only there for the game. And, yeah, that was true, but the way I said it was still just terrible. It was just terrible. I think I posted that on my current channel and titled it something like, you should never say this to your YouTube audience, because it's true. So to this day I regret saying that, because it was one of the stupidest things that I said, again, because of how it was phrased. But after that, there was had an online identity crisis. It was not a real life identity crisis. It was a online persona identity crisis, because everything I built up until that point was now like, I didn't want it, but I also feel like I couldn't just abandon it at the same time either. So I went through several logo names, name changes, and of course, well, I don't know about of course, but I caved and brought back Rise of Nations for an unlimited capacity after that. Um, and that limped along until I settled on Marzzik, which is the name it still has now. Even though I went through two more logos, but yeah, I tried to keep Rise of Nations in there just at a lesser capacity, but it didn't really matter because again, anything I made that wasn't Rise of Nations still didn't get as much attention. That didn't change no matter what I did. That's the algorithm at that point locked my old channel to Rise of Nations. It simply did. It simply did. Um, then I know that February 2021, I made my last two Rise of Nations videos, and then I just stopped because I was just done. But also because at that time, I was also getting pissed at Roblox. I had been getting pissed at Roblox at that time for a couple of years because I felt like, it was that, oh, it's not the same platform I grew up with. That's how I was feeling. Because AGA 2019 completely, it felt like a betrayal, AGA 2019. Then 2020 was not any better. And to me, it felt like Roblox was going down the drain then. So it wasn't just Rise of Nations, it was also Roblox itself I was getting fed up with when I finally just stopped. But that's the main thing I focus on is what I learned during that era. Because, well, it was fun for a while in that era, playing with everyone who watched the videos and the live streams. That was genuinely fun going into the private server, live streaming, just playing with, the viewers. That was genuinely fun at the time. It was. There was lots of fun in that era. There was. I'm not denying that. It was. But I mean, look at the lessons that I learned there because it taught me a lot. And a lot of my decision making now for my channel is from that era. Like, if you've been on my channel long enough, you probably have noticed that, I just don't upload too many of the same type. Like, two or three is maybe the most, but even one or two is like the max. And this is why. Because what happened during the end of the RoN era was, I don't want to say traumatizing, but it definitely left an impact. And it basically taught me to never grow into like a niche, at least not one niche, at least. And that's part of the reason why I not abandoned, part of the reason why I ended the old channel because I tried to fix it. I did. I tried to fix it from March to June of 2021. I tried to fix it, and my might fix it. I tried to move on, and make it my own thing. But the algorithm just simply locked it in. It didn't matter what I did. It never got the same attention. So that's eventually the reason why I changed to my current channel in July 2021. Because I made several videos on this channel, and it was completely free of any expectations. There was no history with it. So it was a fresh slate. So I eventually just fully moved over, and the rest is history, really. But just made me wonder with my RoN era, again, with what it taught me, what I experienced. It's as much turbulence, as much pain it maybe gave me towards the end of it. With the online persona identity crisis, but it taught me a lot of valuable stuff that I still hold dear today. I still live by it. So yeah, I've just been reflecting on that and other things, but that one in particular because it's still the only time where I've had that level of success on YouTube. Although a lot lately, I feel like it's been changing. I feel like I've seen a slight bump up in views and engagement, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm not, complaining. But it's like I haven't seen this level of sustained success on this level since that era, and yet this time it's completely different. I'm not tied to one. I'm not tied to one game. I have all sorts of things. So it's really interesting, I think, to look back on my RoN era and look at my current channel because my old channel for its first 2 years was actually very similar to my current one, almost. It was a lot more gaming heavy, but it was variety based. I never let one thing completely take over. Uh, you know, But then once RoN hit, it hijacked everything. I say it hijacked. It was completely my own volition, but I still say it was hijacked because even if it was myself, it still did. But yeah, it just makes me think about it. And I've also wondered if my name is remembered, Marzzik15. Do people even remember that name? Remember the videos? And I know I made a Return to Rise of Nations video. I think it was 2024. I did it. And I even used the logo there for nostalgia purposes. That was on purpose. And I got a couple comments that say that, yeah, they did remember me. They did. They remembered Marzzik15. But does anyone else remember that? Because it seems like it's been largely forgotten. And again, I'm not complaining. It's just something I think about is, am I even remembered from that time in the Rise of Nations Roblox history as one of the big creators in the early days? Because I realized how short the window actually was. Like, it was probably like at most a year or even less. So it would make sense to me. Of course, it would partially make sense that, I wouldn't be remembered. But at the same time, back then, there was a time back then where, at least in terms of channels actively making RoN videos, I was at one point the biggest one in terms of subscriber count. Not the biggest of all time, but the biggest one who was consistently making RoN videos. Because I know there was Tankfish was popular, but at some point he stopped. But I was still making videos. So there was a time where I was the biggest Rise of Nations, at least content creator. Even if I wasn't a pure RoN channel at some point, I was still the largest one in terms of subscriber count for a while to make videos on it. And I think I even have an old bar chart race of this. And even when I stopped making RoN videos, when I stopped, I was still, I think, still the largest one in terms of subscriber count. Obviously, that's different now because years have passed. And a lot of those creators who emerged in 2019 and 2020, who are still here, are obviously way bigger and have a lot more views, obviously. But it still makes me wonder if I'm remembered at all. Like, do the people who played the game back then remember Marzzik15? Do the creators who interacted with me remember him? Do they remember me? I know I'm kind of going back and forth in third and first person, but I mean, Marzzik15 was a younger version of me. It was a version of me from that time, so I can say both first and third person because it's kind of true in both. Because that's a version of me that isn't around anymore, but yet he does live in that time period. But do you remember me at all, Marzzik15, or even Marzik towards the end? And at all, any memory? It's fine if you don't, but if y'all think you remember, but aren't sure, you can always check if you want to. My old channel is still there; it's not deleted. Uh, Pretty much all the RoN videos are there. Most of them, like 95% are still there, so you can go watch them if you want to. No pressure, obviously, but if you ever want to relive those days, they're there for you to watch. My old channel's a time capsule now from that time period, all those years. But yeah, I was going to. I'm making this today. I wanted to go plane spotting yesterday, but I didn't get sleep, and I didn't want to, risk driving down, running on fumes. So I'm hoping to go this weekend. To go down by Fort Lauderdale, get some footage and upload that because I want to add that in. But yeah, so nice talking to you all here, and see you. I guess I'll see you soon for whenever the next video comes out. Have a good day.